When dawn broke over Seoul, few could have imagined that a single leaked file would ignite the most disturbing scandal in modern Korean entertainment. The link appeared quietly on an obscure forum at 4:13 a.m. Labeled only, "Watch before it disappears." Inside was 47 minutes of uncut footage, an official police reenactment of actor Menglong's final hours. By sunrise, the file had spread across the globe, and a nation was staring into the reconstructed death of its brightest star. At first, many thought it was another fan hoax. The opening frame was dull, the timestamp, the static the sterile apartment. But as the camera panned across a single overturned chair, and the narrator's voice declared, "Subject found unresponsive at 3:42 a.m." disbelief gave way to collective paralysis. It was real, every sterile movement, every measured word. And beneath the mechanical tone of the investigators lay something unspoken. Something that felt like fear. Menglong had been found 6 months earlier in his own apartment, lifeless at 31. The official statement called it a domestic accident. The reenactment called that explanation a lie. The illusion of calm. In the leaked video, officers move slowly through the apartment. Every object is catalogued, every trace logged. A half-finished dinner for two sits untouched on the table. The glass is cracked, fingerprints are partial. The camera lingers on the balcony door, open to skyline glittering like broken glass. Forensic timestamps align with what little the public already knew. You returned home shortly after midnight, sent no messages, made no calls. Yet at 2:57 a.m., motion sensors record multiple shadows moving across the living room, 3 figures, not one. 2 are blurred, 1 distinct. Next frame is empty. Then, 3:42 a.m. Silence. Investigators in the video retrace each step with procedural calm. But viewers sense the dread pressing through the screen. The reenactment actor who plays you hesitates before stepping onto the balcony. He looks back, startled. A faint female voice says something indecipherable. Freeze frame. Zoom. The timestamp flickers, as if the video itself resists being seen. A career cut in light. Before that night, Yu is untouchable. His dramas dominated Asia, his interviews radiated humility. He spoke often of gratitude, of family, of wanting to live quietly, without scandal, to fans. He represented the rare purity of fame untouched by corruption. That's why his death felt impossible. The morning after, news anchors spoke of tragedy, exhaustion, overwork. Agencies released sanitized condolences. But some insiders whispered that Yu had argued with someone days before, that he was planning to terminate a management contract. And he had discovered something worth silencing. When the reenactment surfaced, whispers became thunder. The video's precision felt rehearsed. The gaps too deliberate. Netizens paused each frame, searching for details the police had ignored, the reflection of a second glass on the counter, the faint outline of another figure near the hallway. And the firestorm. By mid-morning, the Ministry of Justice confirmed the footage was authentic but not intended for public release. That phrase fueled every conspiracy theory imaginable. Who leaked it, and why? Anonymous sources within the police suggested a whistleblower frustrated by internal suppression. One message sent to a journalist read simply, "The truth was buried with him. I'm just digging it up." Public outrage exploded. Hashtags demanding justice trended across Asia. Fans gathered outside police headquarters holding candles, chanting, "Tell us what really happened." Within hours, politicians were promising investigations, not into Yu's death, but into how the video escaped. State seemed more afraid of exposure than of murder. The apartment. Reporters eventually gained controlled access to the apartment. The air smelled of disinfectant and old smoke. The floorboards creaked under the plastic boot covers of inspectors. On one wall, faint scratches formed a crescent shape, too high to be accidental. A criminologist who visited described the space as an echo chamber of fear. He noted how Yu's furniture was pushed subtly off alignment. Someone had moved through in haste. Yet nothing was stolen. In the reenactment, that imbalance is recreated perfectly. Chairs, frames, a half-burned candle, everything positioned as found. It was less a reconstruction than a resurrection of dread. Names behind the curtain. Attention soon turned to 2 people close to Yu, his longtime manager K, and a female acquaintance known only as L, according to building CCTV. The premises at 2:50 a.m., 12 minutes before the fall. Her car disappeared from traffic cameras minutes later. K, meanwhile, claimed to have been asleep at home. Cell tower data placed his phone within 1 kilometer of Yu's apartment that night. Neither was ever charged. Both vanished from public view. Viewers noticed that in the reenactment, 2 blurred silhouettes linger behind the balcony door. Their identities protected. To some, it was confirmation of conspiracy. To others, a careful redaction of guilt. Grief as evidence. Yu's parents broke months of silence after watching the leaked footage. In a trembling statement, his father said, "We watched our son die again. And still, they call it fiction." His mother collapsed during the press conference. Across the nation, grief turned militant. Groups began crowdsourcing legal fees to demand an independent forensic review. Academics debated the ethics of viewing leaked material versus the moral duty to seek truth. The line between mourning and investigation blurred until they became the same thing. Every re-upload of the reenactment multiplied its reach, even as authorities tried to scrub it from the web. Error links appeared within minutes. For many, watching was no longer voyeurism, it was witness. Data that shouldn't exist. 3 weeks after the leak, a cybersecurity collective calling itself Eidolon released metadata extracted from the file. Hidden within its code were timestamps inconsistent with the official timeline. The footage had been edited twice after its supposed completion date. A digital forensics professor confirmed that someone inside law enforcement had altered at least 2 segments, one removing background audio, another trimming 9 seconds from the final balcony sequence. Why? No one answered. But whispers grew. Maybe Yu's case wasn't unique. Maybe the pattern of accidental deaths that haunted the entertainment industry for a decade shared the same invisible fingerprints. The pattern. Between 2014 and 2023. Other performers, all young, all rising, had died under circumstances eerily similar to Yu's: isolated locations, vague causes, closed investigations. No reenactment videos were ever released. Retired detectives speaking anonymously admitted, "We were told to finish reports quickly. The names behind the agencies were too powerful. You start to wonder if you're protecting the dead or the living." The statement aired on a late-night talk show before being censored the next day. But by then, screenshots had spread everywhere. Public trust collapsed. The industry's collapse of silence. Production houses suspended filming. Brands withdrew advertisements featuring Yu's image. Actors spoke in cautious, pre-approved language. "We miss him. We hope for peace." None dared mention the video directly. Behind studio doors, insiders told a darker story. Yu had confided fears of being watched. Messages disappearing from his phone. Days before his death, he'd written in a private diary, later leaked online, "They say I'm too curious for my own good. Maybe curiosity is the last thing keeping me alive." That sentence became a rallying cry across forums and protest banners. Curiosity, once his charm, had become prophecy. The investigation turns inward. Under mounting pressure, Seoul Metropolitan Police reopened the case, but only partially. A new task force reviewed the reenactment frame by frame, comparing it to physical evidence. Unofficially, several members leaked that external interference cannot be ruled out. One officer resigned mid-review, citing psychological distress. He told colleagues, "Every time I watch that balcony scene, I feel like someone else is watching me." His statement, missed publicly, became urban legend online. The weight of watching. Viewers who repeatedly studied the video began reporting nightmares. Psychologists warned that exposure to reenacted trauma could induce secondary shock. Yet downloads continued. Footage had transformed from document to curse, something you couldn't unsee once seen. One viral post read, "He's not haunting us. We're haunting him, by watching again and again." Metaphor or madness? The sentiment captured a national mood, guilt woven with fascination. New evidence surfaces. Months later, a freelance journalist obtained audio recovered from the original investigation archives, scraps deleted before the reenactment was compiled. In the file, a male voice whispers, "Let him call," then static. Experts verified the authenticity. The phrase was recorded minutes before Yu's fall. It matched neither Yu's voice nor anyone officially present. That revelation reignited protests. Citizens demanded full disclosure. But rather than clarity, new darkness unfolded. Servers containing the original crime scene footage were reportedly wiped during an unexpected system failure. The political earthquake. The scandal spread beyond entertainment. Opposition lawmakers accused the Ministry of Culture of collusion with talent agencies to suppress scandals that could harm export profits. Hearings were held, no answers emerged. While, online, the reenactment continued to evolve. Users overlaid subtitles, color corrections, and slow-motion analysis. Each alteration claimed to reveal the truth, yet only deepened the labyrinth. Reenactment becomes reality. 6 months after the leak, an investigative program broadcast its own reconstruction of the police reenactment, a reenactment of a reenactment. Actors portrayed the investigators watching their own footage, debating what was real. The blurred boundaries left viewers dizzy. Ratings soared. Critics called it exploitation, others called it necessary catharsis. One reviewer wrote, "Become the detectives, the jury, and the ghosts all at once." The letter. Then came the letter. The sealed envelope arrived at a national newspaper addressed simply to those still watching. Inside was a single USB drive labeled "His Voice." It contained Menglong speaking softly. Apparently into a phone memo. "If this reaches anyone, tell them I didn't fall. I was pushed to forget something I shouldn't have remembered." Forensic labs could not confirm the recording's origin. Half of the metadata was corrupted. But the tone, the phrasing, it was unmistakably him. It ended with silence. Then faint tapping, like someone knocking from the other side of glass. The aftermath. Public fury reached its zenith. Massive vigils flooded Seoul's downtown streets. Candles formed the shape of U's initials. Protesters chanted, "We saw. We remember." Response. The government promised an independent audit of entertainment industry practices. Months later, no findings were released. But within agencies, resignations began quietly piling up. Tracks were dissolved. Managers disappeared abroad. The reenactment, once dismissed as scandalous voyeurism, had become an unintentional weapon of truth. Family's final statement. A year after the leak, Yu's family issued their last public message. "We no longer seek punishment. We seek peace. But peace begins only when the lies end." Withdrew from media entirely afterward, leaving behind a silence heavier than any verdict. The ghost in the machine. Today, the original video is almost impossible to find. Authorities have purged most links. Fragments survive on encrypted archives. Yet those who've watched say it changes each time, as if new frames appear. As if the reflection on the balcony shifts. Technically, that's impossible. Emotionally, it feels true. The reenactment no longer belongs to police or media. It belongs to the collective memory of a generation that saw too much and understood too little. The unfinished ending. In the final seconds of the video, before the screen fades to black, the reenacted figure turns back toward the camera. His lips move, soundless. Analysts slowed the clip to 0.25 speed. Reading his final words, "Don't forget me." Maybe it's coincidence. Maybe it's a trick of light. But for millions who still whisper his name online, words became an oath. The balcony remains sealed. The apartment stands empty. Windows reflecting the city that failed him. And somewhere in the digital depths, the reenactment loops endlessly, truth on replay, justice unresolved.